Welcome everyone to the Continental Club. Today on live, we're doing Embroidery 101, back to basics, and I'll show you how to make a needle cozy. I'm Hein, embroidery software specialist, and I'm going to hang out here for just a moment or two and just to make sure to see who we have out there. And if you're there, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Let me know where you're watching from. And then we'll get started in just a moment. All right, so hopefully we'll have a few people out there watching. Hi, Annika, welcome. All right, so I'm going to put the camera on and we will go from there. Hopefully my sound is up good. Let me double check here on everything. It looks like that it's all working good. All right, and I'll put the camera on in just a moment. Clear a few things out of my way here. And we will go right now. Here we go. All right. Hi. And Kathy's out there. Welcome. So we have a few people watching today. So it is Continental Club Day. It's Friday. And I am Ann Hein, as I said on the beginning. And today we're going to be making we're going to do what's called a needle cozy because we're doing a bundle up for January. So I thought, you know what? Our needles need a little cozy. And I'll show you that in just a moment. I have it on my machine kind of back there. You can't quite see it, but I'll pull it forward in a moment. We're going to do Embroidery 101. I'm going to go over some important embroidery things with our CM17, which covers other machines as well. We're going to do a little bit on hooping, bobbin cases. Then I'm going to show you the how to pick a design in the machine. We're going to work on the machine itself today. We're not using software. We're not using computer, any of that. We're going to do it all on the machine. We're going to create an in the hoop project all on the machine, all on the screen of our machine. So that's what we're up to today. So welcome. Let me pull the little project down so you can see that, and then I will go over the steps for that. So this is our little needle cozy. And I was thinking, you know, I do like hanging things on the front of my machine where those magnets are right there. Okay. And I thought, oh, it'd be nice. I normally just pop my needles up there as I change them, but I thought it would be nice to create a little needle cozy that I could stick them on as I use them. So I use the lettering in the machine, and I put the B for blue, red, R for red. I have other over here, and P for purple. And then you can just slide, a needle in there, and I made it all in the hoop, all finished in the hoop of my machine. I didn't use the sewing side at all. This is all done in the machine using the designs that are built into the machine. So I'm going to show you how to create this, and I'll talk a little bit about hooping and bobbin cases since we are doing Embroidery 101. And if you have questions along the way, I do have my iPad up. I'm going to move it to the other side of the room so that I can see it as I'm working, hopefully. And if you have questions as we go, please ask them. If not, I'll come back later and read what's in the comments, and we can go from there. But this is the little project that we'll do at the end. It's a little needle cozy. And I'm using, one of those wonder clips to hang it on the magnet. So you can see, here's the magnet on the top of my machine, and this can hang there just like that. And I could keep my needles very handy right there. And I have my scissors and other things. You can use one of these too. This is a small, tiny binder clip like that. You can use one of those as well. And that's what I used first, but then I thought, oh, most of us have these little clips here. So they're pretty handy. All right, so let's get started. And I see we have people from all over today, which is wonderful. So let's put that up here. And I'm going to switch over to my other camera, and I'll be moving my camera from position to position. So you'll have to bear with me on that part as we do that. So let me see here. I want to go here and put on this. There we go. All right, so here we go. I'm going to move my chair out of the way so I don't bump into it. And I'm going to bring my camera over a little bit away from the screen so you can see hooping. So I have to slide this a little bit here, and I'll raise it up just slightly so we can see what's happening over there. Hang on one second. I will realign everything. There we go. And I have to take this little, I have a little paper that I put on my stand because it glares on the machine when I'm working. So I will put that back on a little bit later. All right, so here's our hoop, and I want to talk about the hoops first, and then we will move from there. And I am working on the CM17, so we do have the hook, the connector here that goes in here, and this machine does, as you know, does read the hoop that we have on. So I know when I put it on, it will tell me if the design I'm using, I can use this hoop or not. And this is the hoop we're going to use today for our project. And I just want to point out a couple of things about the hoop. All of our hoops do have an inner grid, which I didn't get out the inner grid today. And we also have these little markings here. And these markings are alignments when you use the AccuSetter app. They're helpful for that. Our hoops now are coming with this new connector here. This one has one in one corner. Some of them have them in the two corners. And what you want to do before you hoop anything is to open this up. You can make this little area bigger as well by using the little thumb screw here to make that wider. And I always like it a little bit wider when I go to hoop. And I would pull out my inner hoop and place my stabilizer there. And this is a, let me see if I can get my, let me turn off one of my lights. I think that will help with glare. There we go, a little bit of glare. And I'm going to turn off one of the lights on my machine as well so that we can, maybe it's this one, there we go. Maybe that will help a little bit. Okay, so I lay my stabilizer on there. Here is my fabric right side up. I'm going to center my fabric. Now our project takes a piece of fabric that will fit this hoop, which is about an 8 by 8 square, and a piece of stabilizer. You'll need 2 pieces of fabric and a piece of batting. The batting can be smaller, and I'll show you how that all goes together. Our hoops also have the letters right here, L and R, and L and R, so we know that we're not putting it in upside down. We also have this little guy now, so we can't really put them in the wrong way, but there was a time when we could, and so you want to stick it in. So I usually put it at the top of my hoop, and I walk my hands back, and then when I get down in this area, I can go ahead and snap it closed. And if it needs to be tighter, I'll use my thumb screw and make it a little tighter. Okay, and you do want to make sure you have fabric sticking out of your hoop. I'll just use my thumb screw here and tighten this up. Let me move it a little bit here so I can get my fingers in there. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Now, if you have the hoop that you're using and it has magnets, definitely put your magnets on because it really holds. Those long hoops really need extra right here. So that's what you would do on those. You would want to make sure you're putting in those magnets that go there. And they look like this. The regular hoops have these smaller magnets like this. And I definitely recommend them. They're magnet clips. This one doesn't need them, but they normally have a little magnetic part here, and you would just clip it on right there. And it would hold those long edges, especially our big rectangular hoop. It definitely needs some more help on the sides. You definitely want to do that for the sides of the hoop. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is bobbin cases and your bobbin area down here. And let me see if I can't add a light here, because I think we need this light for under here. There we go. All right. So in your bobbin case, and I'm going to move my camera in a little bit so you can see. And let me open this up. I'm going to lock my machine and open up under here. I am going to use my straight stitch plate, as you can see. You can use this for embroidery. You can use your standard plate as well. This will help support your fabric just a little bit better. It's nothing wrong with using the other plate, but this is designed for this kind of thing. And today I am using a Janome bobbin, pre-filled, a Janome pre-filled. And then I will be using my 10-gram case. Let me see if I can get this in the light so you can see it. This is the problem, is getting, let's see if this light comes on today. That will help at all. Nope. All right, so this one does say 10 grams in there. I'm trying to get it so you can see the gram number in there. Let me put my plate back down here and then I can put on another light. Hang on, see what's going on here. There we go. All right, so if you can see when I turn this right here, you can see it says 10 grams. And I mostly go by grams now instead of this color because our machines are changing. Typically, this was a high tension case at one time, but this is the standard case for a CM17 at 10 grams. And then we also have the high tension case, which is right here. Let me see. This is, hang on one second, got all of these laying up there we go. This is my 20-gram case, and if I barely, it's hard to show it without it glaring. This is the 20-gram one. It does have the little white mark. This is a high tension case. You would use this if you were using a non-Janome bobbin thread or a thinner weight bobbin thread. You would want to use the higher tension case. And of course, I do have my blue dot case, which is an 8-gram case, and this is less tension. And I use it for quilting in the hoop when I do in the hoop quilting projects. All right, this is a standard one. It's also, well, it doesn't have the gram markings in here, but this is for one of the ones that has the little flapper on it that will check your bobbin, how much is left on your bobbin. Our CM17 has the little hole right here, doesn't need the flapper because it has a light beam that checks how much is left there. So let me get my iPad over here so I can see what's going on over here. And all right, so someone's asking, Amy's asking about a magnifier. Hang on one second. Yes, a magnifier would be helpful, but with my glare that's happening today, sometimes a magnifier just might magnify that. But your machine does come with a magnifier. Let's see if this will work better. Yeah, see, we're still having lighting issues. But this is our magnifier, and everybody knows we have one with our machine, correct? Let me move these out of the way and put in the proper one because I want to put in my 10-gram case, and I am going to lock my machine and open up here. The other thing I want to point out down here in your bobbin area is this little piece right here. This is called your bobbin stopper. It's that little piece of metal right there. And that's where your bobbin case will sit against when you stick it in here, like so. And I always like to put it in there, make sure it's in properly. I don't want to dislodge my bobbin stopper. That's important. That keeps the bobbin case in line so that while you're stitching, you don't have any trouble. And then I'm just wiggling my hand wheel just a little bit just to see that I have this seated correctly. I'm going to put my plate back down. There we go. Hi, Janie, welcome. Let's see who else is here. We've got a lot of people here today. All right, so I'm all set under here. I'm going to put my bobbin back in. I love that Janome tells us right here on our bobbin covers how we put our bobbins in, even though, you know, there are times people have put them in incorrectly. That's okay. Put it in, get it under the metal part here, up and over to 1 and 2, and you're all set to go. And sort of like Emerald or Julia Child, I just throw that piece of thread over my shoulder for good luck before I start sewing. All right, so that's all under here that we need to worry about. What we're going to do next is go to the screen of the machine, and I'll show you how I created the needle minder. How about that? And then look, I used up here, when last week when I showed how to use the mirage stitches, I used a piece of my little ribbon with the mirage stitches. So this is all done, this part all done in the screen of your machine, right, in the edit screen. So let's go over there. We know we've talked a little bit about hooping. We've talked about bobbin cases and bobbin thread. Of course, you want to make sure that you are threading your machine properly, locking your machine. And what that locking does, yes, it's a safety feature, but it also opens those tensions, and so that when you're putting your thread through your machine, it is going in the proper areas. The other thing when I go to thread my machine is I do use my needle down, needle up first, which is right up here on the front of my machine. Let me back out here. I've got my zoom way on. So I'll do my needle up, needle down, then I'll lock my machine, and then I thread. So let's move over here. I have to readjust. Let's unlock here. And I'm going to put this up this way and bring the camera back over into this area. This is where I need that, what is that person, the dolly grip that comes and does all this for you. Let's realign. All right, and get this so it doesn't fall over. All right, hang on one second. As you can see that shadow in there, that glare of my camera holder. And so I have a little piece of paper, look at that, it's like magic, that I'm going to put over there so you don't see that glare as much. You do see it over here. There's a little bit of glare on that side, but let me move this just a little bit. When I was at the office doing some filming with this machine, when I sat in front of it, they had to cover me with black fabrics because of that part of it. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully everybody can see okay. There is a little bit of a shadow on this side, and I'll see what I can do to block that. I don't know if this red will work. Let's see if this red takes that away. Not, oh, maybe. Yeah, now you just see red. Okay. Well, we'll worry about that black part as we go along here. Hopefully you'll be able to see well enough. So when you go to your embroidery side, I'm already over here, but typically, and I have to move a few things because my embroidery arm is going to move at this point. Typically when you go over to embroidery, you're going to touch your house because you'll probably be in ordinary sewing to start with. So let's be in ordinary sewing to start with. And then we will go to our home again, and we will choose embroidery, and our arm will move into the embroidery area. Now I leave my embroidery arm on all the time. You'll notice right now that my stitches are grayed out. That is because I have my straight stitch plate on, so it's only going to allow me to have those stitches that are straight being used at this moment. And let's go back up here. We'll go to our house, and I'm going to select embroidery mode, and it's asking me that question. I'm going to say okay. There we go. And then we are in embroidery. Now I don't have any design up there because I didn't have anything I stitched last. If I'd been stitching, it would give me that message, do you want to resume your last one? And I would say yes if that's where I want it to go, but I don't really want to go there. Oh, that's okay, Diana, no problem. You can always catch up. Oh, is there, oh, wait a minute. Vicki says there's no sound. Can everybody hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me so I know what's going on. And I'll double check over here that my sound is working. Okay, everybody can hear. All right. Okay, so just to go over a few things on the screen that we're at right now. These tabs across the top, I love the way things are set up now because everything's what I call menu forward. All right, everything is menu forward. So the first tab over here, these are where all the embroidery designs are, and they are in groupings by either designer or type of design, and you can page through here and find all the different groupings and select any of these designs that you want that way. Maybe I want to look by hoop size. So possibly I want to make sure I'm using the biggest hoop today. Maybe I only want to see the biggest hoop. Those are the designs I'm going to find by hoop size right here. So I would choose which ones I want that way. And then, you just go in here and you can you have your page arrows on the sides and you can page through the designs. The next tab going across the top is our lettering tab. And I love the lettering tab because there's not just letters in here. There's some other fun things that we're going to play with today. And we're going to go back here and start at the beginning. So you have all these different fonts you can choose. And you can page in either direction. And we have our micro Gothic, which we're going to use today. We have some of our Cyrillic ones. And then we have these border and the normal sew. And we have our 2 and 3 letter monogramming in this area. We're going to be playing with the border and normal sew today. I'm not sure if any of you have played with those. They are some of my very favorite designs to work with. So that's what we're going to be working with, a little bit of those today. Now I am using the small hoop, and that is the SQ10D hoop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my edit screen here. And in my edit screen, I can pick my hoop right down here that I want to design with today. Now, if I'd had a design there already, it will gray out, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's X out of here. Let's pick a design like, let's go back here, pick this design and go here. And see, it's saying unsaved designs will be erased. Okay. And it's taken me right here, but I have the wrong size hoop. So it won't show me that design. So I'm going to have to change it to this one. And then I can pick this design. There we go. All right. And if I want to go to a smaller hoop, all of those are, you can't really tell, but they're grayed out at the moment. It's not going to let me pick anything else but that design. So I'm going to delete that design. And then I'm going to use my SQ10D hoop because that's all we need for this little design. This is the design we're making. Let me see if I can get that in the picture. There we go. All right. Okay. So there's no tools down here because, for one, there's nothing on the screen. So let's go get something to put on the screen. And we're not going to use the designs. Everybody can figure out how to find designs, right? This is by grouping. This is by hoop size. We're going to start here in lettering. Now, if you were to make a label, you would work the same way. You can type in the letters that you need for your label. For one line, hit OK, come back here, put another line, and so forth. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're just going to be adding more things. You would do the same thing if you were typing in a quilt label as well. So the first thing I'm going to start with is one of the border designs. And I have to get my little notepad here because I made myself some notes along the way, hopefully. And I think the one I need to go to is actually in normal sew. So I'm looking for, the little dress form right here. And I'm just going to need one. So I'm going to select one and then OK. So there it is on my hoop. And now you can see I have more tools down here at the bottom. And hopefully you can see those, if you can see almost all the tools. I think the only thing that is missing that you can't see, and I'll back up just a tiny little bit so you can see. There we go. Now you can see everything. Was the trash can down here. So there's my design. Designs always come into the center of your hoop. That's pretty handy. But now I want to rotate that upright. So I'm going to hit the rotate, which is this one right here. Several options for rotating. I'm just going to hit 45 twice to get it upright, and I'm going to keep it there. I need to touch OK for it to stay that way. So I'm going to touch OK. And I'm going to go get my next design. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some of those letters that I had. I'm going to go back up here to my letter tab. And I'm going to go, I can page in either direction, but I'm looking for the micro Gothic font. This is a small font right here. This is great for cuffs, if you want to put like initials on a cuff, if you're doing something on the edge of a little pocket for a man's shirt, something like that. This little font is great for that. So I'm going to bring my letters in one at a time. So I need a B for the blue needle, and I'm going to do OK. And it comes into the center, and I can easily use these arrows right here to move it up and I'm going to bring it over here to this side. And I'm just going to set it right there for the moment. I'm going to go back and get, so that's the blue. I need an R for red, and okay. So if you were typing in a label, you would type in, you know, a whole word and then, or a line and say okay, and then move it into position. Let's see if we can get this one to move. There we go. And I'm going to bring it over here. Now I can just grab it like this and move it as well. I'm just going to plop it over there for now. Go back and get another one. So I need the P for purple. You can do your needle cozy any way you want. If you do not want letters, I'm sorry for the shaking. Trying not to bump my camera. It's no easy feat some days. Here we go. Come on down there. There we go. Put you over here somewhere. Maybe right there. And then the last one I need is O for other. And I'm going to touch OK. These down here, these are spaces. So if you're putting in a word, you would use these for spaces. Of course, there are numbers and punctuation under here and some more punctuation. You can use those. These make fun little designs also if you wanted to use those as designs. I'm always looking at interesting things in my machine that aren't typical designs and be creative with them. So I'm just going to bring this little O down here and stick it over on this side. All right. Now, a cool thing about our machine is right here, we have this magnifier. And if I wanted to look at it up closer, I can select them. I have the biggest magnification on. And right now, when I touch the screen, it's going to move the whole screen. See how it moves the whole screen, which is fine. If I want to move one of the letters, I would touch the little hand right here. And I could move one of those letters. Maybe I want to put them in the bottom of this box right here. This one I need to move up and put at the bottom of that box. I can use my arrows here as I move around. I just want to kind of put them in position. Move this R over there. I might have to move them one more time. We'll see. But I have them nicely placed. I love that magnifier. So this is your regular magnification, medium magnification, and regular right there. Okay, so we are back to normal. So the next thing I want to put in are the two flowers that are on the top and the bottom. See how we have here? We're going to move to our two flowers. Again, I just have to go back up here. I have to go to my normal or border sew for those flowers. And that one is in border sew. Aren't these really cute? There's 2 pages of different designs in here that you can play with. I love these designs. I use them a lot. So I'm just going to take one of those and okay. And it's centered in my hoop, which is fine. I'm just going to move it to the top. And I need 2 of these. So I'm going to put one up there like that. And then I'm going to use the copy paste, which is this tool right here, the 2 pieces of paper. Now it copy pastes right on top of itself. So don't get crazy because you can't see it copy. So I'm just going to touch it once. And then I'm going to use my arrow key because I want to keep it centered. And I'm just going to bring it on down here and place it somewhere down here. I'll have to redo it in a little bit anyway. So just down there is good. All right. And next, let's work on this top portion here. We'll do this little guy here. All right. And I'm going to go back in here and I have to find that design. So that was in my border design. So I'm in border and I believe it's on this page. It's this one here. And I need 5 of them. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and okay. And then I'm actually going to use, because this is in lettering, I can touch my lettering key right here. And I'm going to curve it. And I think I'm going to curve it 4 times. Let me see. There we go. And I'm going to touch OK and move that up. All right. And it's going to go right at the top here. Almost to the top. There we go. Let me just check my comments. How's everybody doing out there? Hopefully I haven't lost you. So the next thing I need to do is I'm going to need to copy that mirror image it and bring it to the bottom. So again, to my copy paste, then I'm going to hit mirror image, and I can use my arrow key to bring it down. That way it stays nice in line. I don't have to realign it. And I'm just going to bring it down close to the bottom like that. Okay, and I think that's the one I used. I'm going to go back and look because I have a feeling that is not the one I used. I used this guy, not this one. So let's go back so I can show you. We're going to select that one and trash it. Select this one and trash it. And we're going to go back up here and get this one. That's right, there we go. And do the same thing again. I'm going to curve it 4 times. Okay, bring it up. That's better. I knew that other one was just too big. But when you design yours, you can use any of these designs in any way you like. You can combine them into a curve too. You can use 2 or 3 different designs and curve those as well. So there's the one up there. Again, I'm going not trash. I'm going to copy paste, mirror image, and bring it down. And then the next thing I need to do is bring in those side designs. And when I go to do that, I know right now, because of where this one is falling, these are in the wrong spot, my letters. So my letters really need to be on the inside of this box, that way. So I'm just going to move them in this way. And you can do this any way you like. I'm just showing you what I did. And then, the next part is after the next 2 designs is really interesting. So there we go. Move you back. And we'll talk about some of these tools. How many of you have used the edit screen on your machine? Give me some thumbs up. Have you played with the edit screen at all and worked with things in here? I mean, you could bring in a design and add lettering to it. It doesn't have to be a machine design. You could bring in something through your USB stick and then add lettering in here as well. All right, so those are in there. I need my side design, and my side design came from, let's see, where did it come from? It's right here. So I'm going to bring in one of those, and okay. I'm going to rotate it twice. Okay. And then I'll just bring it to the side. And it actually needs to come down. So I'll bring it over here to the edge a little bit more. And then down. There. Oh, let's line you up in the middle. There we go. A little bit more. And of course, this one I'm going to copy paste and move over here. Let's see. There it goes. All right. So the last thing I need to do is, because I did this completely in the hoop, I need to create the outside line to stitch it all together. And so I'm going to hold this up here and hopefully we can see it. You see that shape that I made? I made this in the machine using those normal border sew designs. And this is how I sewed the front and the back of my shape together. And then I turned it. So I can show you here. This is where I turned it. So I did it completely in the hoop of the machine. All right. Who needs software, right? When you can do it all right here. So the next part of this, I went and found a design that looked like straight stitches. So we can find those back in here. And they are in, I believe, normal sew. Let me go back to normal sew. There's a little tiny stitch. I think it's in normal sew. Let's see. Here it is, this one right here. So on this one, for the top curve, I use 16 of them. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I know I can't do any more because it beeps, it won't let me. So I used as many as I could. I'm going to select OK. It's right there in the center I can change the color of that, which I want to do. So I'm going to come down here to my color wheel and I'm going to turn it green like that, and okay. And I'm going to curve this one as well. So I need to go to my lettering and I'm going to curve it. I did it 5. There we go. And okay, and then I'll move it up to the top. Now, one of the things I'm going to turn off, let's see if I can show you. All right, there we go. Everybody see that? Now I just need a second one of these down below here. So of course, I'm going to copy paste it. I'm going to mirror image it, but it won't let me mirror image because it's too close to the top. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit like that. Then I can mirror image. These are your mirror images, up and down, left and right. This is center to hoop if I wanted to center something to hoop. And of course, I'm going to bring this down. And I'll need to move this black one up just a little bit so that it's not so close to the edge. So I'm going to select a different design and then this black one. I can see that it's hard for you guys to see, but there is a green box around that bottom one. And I'm just going to bring it up just a couple of notches like that. And I need to create the side piece and the 2 little pieces that go off to the side. So I'm going to hold this up again to show you. So what I need to create are these 2 pieces here and then this little connector piece here. So to do the straight one, I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to come in here, and I think I used 6 of these, maybe 7. Sometimes you have to experiment, and I'm going to make it green like the side so I can keep those together. And I'm going to rotate it. Okay, bring it over. There we go. And you can see, maybe if we use the magnifier, and so you can see there's the top part, and there might be a tiny gap there, that's okay. And there's that line. So I have that all set. Let's go back to normal. There we go. And then on this side, I just made 2 little lines, and I'll go back up here, and I think I used maybe 2 of those, and okay. They're in the center. I'm going to drag it over here to get out of the way. Just a little bit, and we'll go up just a bit. There it is. And I'm going to make it green as well. And I'll bring it up. Now, the reason I do this is a little channel so that when you go to turn your piece, it turns through that channel so much easier, and the ends sort of fold in on you. And I'll show you on this. I'm going to trim this up and show you really quickly why I do that. And I do this on a lot of different things, even when I'm designing in my software. So let's just quickly cut around here, and I'll show you turning it. You might have seen this. It's not my technique. I think it's probably a Nancy Zeman or maybe even an Eleanor Burns thing. I'm not sure. Okay. So when you're done, what you would do is you would reach in here and turn your piece like this. And I use this for a lot of different things. Anytime I'm turning, I will make that little bit. All right, so see how these are? This is where that little channel was. They fold back in there so nicely that I don't have to deal with those edges. Look at that. They just pop right in there. Okay? I know I have to pull all this out, but I just wanted to show you why I do these little guys here. So I need to do one more of those because there's 2 of them. And I'm going to make sure I have it selected, and I'm going to do copy paste. and move one down here and align it. There we go. All right. Now, one of the things you want to do, I'm going to show you some other tools here. So hopefully we've got everybody on board. We haven't lost anyone yet. Things I haven't showed you. I've showed you everything over on this side. This, well, except for this one here. This is copy to four corners. All right. So how that works is, let's just take this B for instance, and I'm going to copy it and move one over here. And if I wanted 4 of those B's, I could have it selected and touch here, and it puts 4 of them for me. You see how that is? So that's your copy to 4 corners. Very handy. And then I am going to delete them. So I have one selected. Make sure I select as I go. There we go. So I have those out of the way. So we have all the tools on this side taken care of. Now over here are a couple things I did not go over. And one of them is this one here. I'm not going to select it right now. This one here is color grouping. So, oops, and I did select it. So it will group all my colors so that all the black will stitch all at once, and then all the green, when I go to the page, anything that's green will stitch next, and I can hit OK. But I'm going to hit X because I don't want them to combine just yet. I want to show you one other thing. So if you had multiples of the same design in here, maybe you were doing some stitch out patches or something, and you had multiples in your hoop. If you select this, it will organize your stitching for you. So it'll stitch all of one in the order you want it to stitch. It won't do it incorrectly. So you want to make sure you can use that. This is the color, change the color, which I showed you. This is stitching all one color, if I wanted it to stitch all one color. And this one here is the order of stitching, the 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do that in just a moment. This one here is grouping. So if I wanted to move like all those letters at one time, I can select the grouping, and I can select grouping for everything, or I can select individuals. So if I selected this side, it would select everything, but I don't want to do that. I want to select this one and select just the ones I want. So let me get out of here and go back. Hang on. X out and go back. I just want to select individuals. So I'm going to select that one, that one, that one, and that one. And if I want to move them, I can select OK. And then watch, they'll all move at once. Isn't that cool? So if you're trying to move something all at once, a couple of items all at once, you can group them with that tool. All right. And then when you're done, you just touch it again and it releases them. Very handy, handy tool. Now this one here, this is your order of stitching. All right, so right now, and I'm going to actually change colors of some things so we can see this a little bit better, because I only have the outline as green. I don't have anything else. Everything's black. So for my blue, I'm going to select, and I'm going to make that blue like that. And this is red, so I'm going to come in here and make it red. It'll make more sense when we start to put things in sewing order. The O, I'm just going to make that orange. And then we have purple over here. Oops. There we go. And purple. So now we have a lot of black. And well, let's make these yellow. This might help us. And then I'll show you a stitching order. And make that one yellow. Now, as I was going, I could make them different colors as I go, or I could make changes of colors at the end. All right. Okay, so when I look at this, I can decide which order I want them to stitch. So if I'm going to select this one in the center, I think I want to start with that one right there. So I'm going to pick that one there, and then I'm going to hit my 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm just going to select around my piece the ones I want to stitch next. So if I want all the black to stitch, that's going to stitch here, then this one. Then I'm going to go up here to that one, this one, and this one. And then I'm going to do the yellow and then this yellow. And then I'll do my letters in here. So I want this one, which actually now this is where sometimes we have trouble, is right now it's selected that green part, and that's not what I want. So let me undo this. This is where you have to be careful about your selecting. So let me see here. Let me start with the letters because or this top part. Let me start with this part. There we go. So we're going to start with that one, and we'll do that black, this one, this one, this one in the middle. And then I'm going to do my yellow, and then I'll do my little letters. And then all the green part at the end. Oh, I think I got one out of order, and you'll see that when I get there. The thin ones are hard to figure out. Let's see, we'll go back. Let's do okay. And you can see my machine's going to move. There we go. All right, so what it's going to stitch now is the blue and then all that green, and that's not what I want. So I would always double check here to make sure it's going to go in the order I want it to go. Let me look at the thread colors right here. So what's going to happen is it's going to stitch the blue part. It's going to stitch all these greens, and then it's going to want to do the black, the yellow, the blue, these colors here, another black, a green. But this green, all this green needs to be at the very end. So I would have to go back in and rework it so that they are in the order I want them to work, okay? So you would just go back into your edit screen, come back in. Usually what I try to do is select the one I want to start with and go from there. All right, so that's how you reorder. This is a little complicated because these little lines out here are a little bit difficult to not select, so you may have to go into your magnifier. The other one here that I didn't talk about was this guy right here. So this is a feature we had it on other machines, and it looks a little different, but here what this does is it will page through or click through your design so that if there's a part that you want to select, it's easier to select. So like over here, it's hard for me to select these little pieces that are on the side here. So what I could do is come in here and use these arrows, and it's got the center one. Now it's selected this side. If that's the one I want, I'll touch the center here, and now it has that piece selected for me. See how that works? So if there's a part you cannot reach, what you want to do is use these arrows to go through your design, and it makes the parts red as it selects them. So it selected that part. Maybe I want this top part is selected now. If that's the part I want, it's in red right now, I will select it, and that's the part it selects. So it's great for those times, and Amy will remember this, way back when we didn't have that tool. If you were putting things in your hoop and they were laying on top of each other, you'd have to move everything out of the way, and then you'd have to find that part, select it, do what you need to do with it, and move everything back. Now you don't need to. Now you can move around your design using these arrows right here. They're very, very handy. The other thing that's good too is the rotate right here. We can actually rotate outside the hoop. So I have the top, this green part selected. So if I wanted to rotate that, it's actually rotated outside. Actually, let's do this. Let's click off of there. Let's take this one because it's easier to see when I rotate it. See how it's out? It's outside the hoop right now. It won't let me keep it there, but I can rotate it around. I don't have to move it into place in order to get it to rotate, which we used to have to do. We have to move it towards the center and then rotate. Now, once you get your design where you want it, you want to save it. So you would come over here to your folder, and you can save it in any of these spots right here. it will be saving in the EMB folder unless you come out of your folder, but we're going to be in it right here in the machine. I have these folders right here. I have a live folder, so I created that right up here by clicking on that and making a folder. So I'm going to click off of that. And so I want to save this design in my live folder. And it says needle. I'm going to save another one in here to show you. I'm going to select here. What's nice is we used to have just this keyboard, okay? And now we have a normal keyboard that we can use, and you can use upper and lower cases. So I'm going to call this one needle 2, which might be a little easier for us to type with now. Oops. If we could spell, you know, some of us just cannot spell. There we go. And a space and a 2. There we go. And okay. And then I'm going to do okay again. And now it's saved in my machine. The other thing I did is I deleted the whole thing except for the outline, and I saved the outline so I could use it over and over again, which I find very handy. So I have that saved, and I'll show you where I have that saved, because if I was going to take it out, I would come down here, and I think I just saved it to the side here. Let's see. I have to figure out. Let's see, where's that little hoop? There it is. There's my outline. So I have it saved as an outline here. I have it saved again over here. So I can use that outline once I create it. Sometimes when I create things, first time I create them, I save it. Then I can use it over and over. I don't have to recreate that outline over and over. And I'm going to just cover the stitching of this. I'm going to put the camera back on and talk about the stitching of this. Just one moment while I move things around, and then we will call it a day because the weekend's here. Yay! Yippee, yippee. All right, let me get my supplies so I can have them all together. I'll bring this over here and I'll put the camera on. Let's see here. Here we go. All right, so whew, that's a lot. So now you guys can all make your little needle cozy right here. Fun. So I'm going to tell you how I did the stitching on this part of it. So I had the 4 letters stitch. I can actually I had the letter stitch, the centerpiece stitch, and then while everything was hooped like this, I just slipped underneath a piece of batting. So the batting was back here, just to give it a little bit of, a little puffiness in there. And then all the outside stuff, the 2 flowers, these 2 side designs, and the top, all stitched through the batting. Then once all those were stitched, I laid this piece, the backing, right sides down, and let it stitch the outline part of it with a little channel. Once that got all done, I took it out of my hoop and I trimmed the batting close to the edge. I'll try to see if I can turn this back out to show you the inside. When I added this in just before I did that outline. So you would lay this down like that and tape it. And then when it's stitched, it would stitch it in there, just like you do an In the Hoop project. So I'll show you what it looks like from the inside. It's a little bit of, I don't know, it's going to be hard to turn it back. It's going to be hard to turn it back. But once you get it done, it turns and you have this nice little piece. Okay? Let me review that one more time on stitching it. And you can do this any way you like. I did not want to stitch the whole thing through the batting. Those little letters especially they're very tiny. This is micro font. I just stitched those through the stabilizer and the top fabric. The same with the center. So I did the center and those 4 letters. Then I put the batting on the back and let it stitch the rest of it. Then I added my little loop at the top, and you lay that down. Let me show you how you lay that in there. Okay, so here's this is my loop, and you want to lay it in there, on your, what would be this way, I guess, in my hoop. You'd want to lay it there just before you put your top fabric down, put a piece of tape on it like that to hold it, and then you'd put your backing and then stitch it and then turn it, and you'd have it all put together. All right, so you can make a little needle cozy that can hang from your magnets. I love those magnets. I mean, it's a silly little thing on our machine, but when I was at the office for the first time playing with the machine, I kept putting things up there, and they came in and they're like, "Oh, that's what," I said, "They're for those little cards." I said, "I know, but I like putting things up there." So you guys can do this too. All right, let me check my comments, see if there's any comments going on. Everybody looks good. I'm going to let everyone go. If there's any questions or comments, please post them, and I will come back a little while later and check those and answer anything that you have about that. But get out there, start using the tools on your edit screen. Don't be afraid of those. Sometimes this is a little bit of a time-consuming little project, of putting little things in, but it's all doable on your machine. I didn't have to get out my software. I could do some of this in Embroidery Link if I wanted to. I mean, I could use AccuSketch to make something like this as well. But sometimes learning all those tools that are on our machine, it's very handy to know what those are about, especially when you want to add just a little something. Maybe you want to make a quilt label, and you can use the same properties you did here and turn it into a quilt label instead of a little needle cozy. All right. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. I will be back next Thursday over on the Janome Sewing Machine page with doing something with Artistic Digitizer. I'm not sure what I'm doing next week. And Tuesday, I'll be on Instagram with Sew for Home. We'll be talking about decorative stitches, mirage stitches, and some of their projects. So I'll be with Liz over on the Sew for Home Instagram account. That's Tuesday. Let's see, what time is that? I think it's 12:30 Eastern time. 9:30 Pacific time, because she's over there in the Pacific Northwest. All right, everyone, I'm going to let you go because you know what? It's the weekend. It's time to get started for that fun stuff. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again soon.